I will be presenting Liran Tal. Hello, Liran. Thank you for joining us. Liran is a advocate at Snipe. I'm going to tell you about a weekend side project that turned really popular and how that happened. Check out Liran's hat and take the floor, Liran.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me see if I can share. Alrighty. Well, hey everyone. So cool to be here. I am indeed a developer advocate at Sneak. Not a lot of people know how to pronounce that well, so no worries. What we do is we build developer-friendly security tooling that help developers build open source in a secure way. I'm actively involved around a lot of things around security, OWASP and Node Security Working Group, a lot of stuff. So if you have any questions or you want to ping me on that one, or you want to do some contributions around security, that's going to be amazing. Just ping me. I'm involved in other things around the community. So, feel well to do it. I want to share today something about, we called it building successful open source projects because it's kind of what it is. I want to share about my project. But it's going to be hard to put all of that in like the 8 to 10 minutes that we have today. So I'm trying to make this as amazing as possible as open source is. And that's how we're going to go through this. So I'm going to try and monitor my chat as well to see what people are asking during this. Comments about hat, obviously. Okay, let's move past the hat people. But really, let's talk about open source a bit. So what happened is I worked on a side project over a weekend, basically trying to figure out, we're doing a lot of security tooling as DevRels on Sneak, and try to see if I can build a cool command line application for developers where they could put a website, and then there's next to the command line, and it will scan it and tell you if there's any security vulnerabilities like known in JavaScript packages on the website. It's supposed to be something small. I haven't really build the whole thing that detects the vulnerabilities or anything because that's already tooling that exists. So I just really had to wire it up together and build something nice. And apparently that turned out into like this 1,500 GitHub stars, which what I want to say in this slide is, it seems easy, but it's not. I just want to say here, it's not easy. It's not the fact that we're calling it a side project is, we took time to figure out. I learned a lot of things during, and I will talk about them here as well. But what I want to talk about in this is really not about the security side of it or the development part of it or the Git process, which Lorna walked you through, but actually what it took for me to build something as a project to make that successful. So let's go through that and see what's going on. So to begin with, right, there's like this iceberg. There's a lot of work that is, someone had put into making that thing nice. And what it is I'm gonna see if you can see my other. Go ahead. Amazing technology just works. So this is the repository, right? This is this tool called This Website Vulnerable. It has a lot of contributors as well that kind of like joined in, worked on it. And what I want to say, my first point is actually, make the repository itself, when you start out and you want to build it for other people to work with you on it. And by the way, also for you, for your future version of yourself that's going to go back to this repository and need some help figuring out what's going on. Setting it up for success means tidying it up for collaboration. That is everything from like the project mission is well explained. The README does a really good job explaining that. It's well organized. There's parts about how to install it, how to debug it, how to make contribution, right? Add license, which is important for people who are contributing code, code of conduct and contribution guidelines, if those are needed, if there's something like specific that you are expecting. For example, people should, when they contribute a pull request, they should also contribute a test that actually tests that, what they've added works. So it's hard, to kind of like, pull that into specifics. But if you go into a project, it's very easy to say, is it something where I want to spend my time in or not, right? Just like, for example, these restaurants, right? On the left, if you've seen that from the window outside walking past this in a non-COVID-19 world, for example, you'd probably want to move the bit faster and go into that other restaurant that looks a bit more tidy and, it's nicer. It's a bit more inviting to spend time at. And so with this, right? This is what I actually want to talk about. Like we have this, the README starts off, it's well explained, the mission of what this actually does. There are badges which are very popular in open source, which help people also understand what's going on. What's the license? Are tests passing? Like, is this something I want to contribute and spend time because there are tests and it's maintainable and so on? What's the code coverage? Does it have any security vulnerabilities? What does it look like if I want to participate in the project and contribute? How should I? What's a success way of invoking it looks like? So you can add a GIF, which is a nice way of doing it, or just some screenshots or something. And all of this is also pretty well explained, right? There's an about, the usage, command line, exit codes are well documented, a Docker, a GitHub, and install. All of this, of course, didn't exist in the beginning, but the beauty of this is some people added them. So this brings me to talk about, this is nice. This is a good starting point for people to just collaborate and jump in. But how do we get to that point? So a few things, a few takeaways here, and I want to leave some time for questions if there are. So there's not a lot, but we'll iterate one by one. So first of all, do an MVP, right? You do not need to create the whole feature set for is website vulnerable or whatever you want to do to build it. Don't do that. Let me show you an example of this. There we go. We open this one. So when I created the project, one of the things I did first was I added issues of what I want to happen, right? It's like people, adding some issues into a backlog, and these are the user stories. Convert the host to valid URL automatically, add a loader, add a JSON output, things that, help other people when they want to contribute. It is a good first issue. It is an enhancement. It's a docs, whatever that is. But this is a way for you to say, these are the things that I find important. If you want to take them, I think they're pretty, good starting point for you to work on. So this is, one of, as an example, this is one of the first things. The other one is, right, perfection is the enemy of progress with open source, especially. You want to build something first. And so I've got this one here, convert a host to a valid URL, right? Someone just added it in, and, it's nice because I didn't, if there's an error, that's fine. If it fails, if there's some weird issues, that's fine. I just want to put something out there that works. And people might help me build this if this is, part of what I also want to get into the project, right? Sometimes I build something and it's just for myself. It's nice if people contribute, but I don't need it. In this case, I'm happy to contribute and build something that the entire community uses. And this is where we gather, do collaboration and gather input from other people. So there's that. And so what I also want to say here is, be timely on your response to issues. So for example, this person, Soldier Corp, created this pull request on the 6th of October 2019. By the way, that was also Hacktoberfest last year when I built this. And you can see that I replied pretty much on time, right? In the day, when they are working on it. Otherwise, as a developer, you know how that feels, right? Context switches, and I need to reproduce, and what exactly did they say, and what exactly did it mean? And so if you are timely, this is really good, because think about that experience where people, just where you're working with over at Slack or your teammates in the office, you ask something, you kind of expect, people to kind of corroborate and do this together. So there's that. There we go. And the other thing is, how about, for example, that thing, that people, I feel, sometimes feel about what makes projects successful or not is, will people contribute to my project, right? Is it interesting enough or something? So if you're building something and you're happy to put it, in kind of like the public domain, not licensing wise, but for everyone else, kind of to take a look at, as is with open source. I want to share this one, right? And what I want to say here is, like, my takeaway here is, people will want to help you, don't worry, right? This is, that same person on that PR saying, thanks for letting me help you, right, on that Hacktoberfest session. And I'm happy with that. Like, this is great. You're helping me build this. I'm helping you. This is fine. You do not need to look for people to contribute. Just set everything up so you do not fail. Set you up for success with all of the tips we'll talk about today, and that's going to be part of it. Typos are just fine, right? Like, I've got some of these first pull requests who are all about, I've had a typo. Fix a small typo. Great, amazing. I like these typos, and I don't want to also, if give you a small tip. Sometimes it's good to leave a typo. Maybe it invites someone else to contribute back to the project, right? So this is great. There we go, another one. Let me show you this one as well. It's another typo, but what I like about this typo fix is, I really like good contributions in this way, because that person is, I'm following that person, right? 16 years old developer. And hopefully they're not, nothing else that, trying to steal my credentials and malicious stuff, because I'm always doubtful working in a security space. But doubts aside, right? This person works in open source. They're doing a lot of cool things. They've had a really interesting time, contributing to open source projects. One of those was mine. That's an amazing. We've enabled someone to take part in open source, however small, however big. That's already one thing that I really like about this way. Some other things. So we talked about creating backlog issues, but what I wanted to say there as well is, when you do that, try not to make it a one line, or something that just open a title and someone will figure it out. No, be a bit more descriptive. Like, if you want to invite people to help you, say what is going on, what are you trying to fix, right? What are you trying to build? What kind of solutions would you like to look like? When you do that, you again set other people up for success, so they can easily jump in, say, I want to take it. I know what to do. You've just described it for me. I'm happy to help you build this thing, right? So this is part of it as well. So kind of like concluding with some of this closing words on this part, which we talked about in terms of like doing an MVP, doing a prep work, and being supportive to people, is basically all of those examples. It helps when your project, I think, at the end of the day, is something where other people who are helping you out are able to use it. So if it's a CLI thing, they can take that CLI, do like, if it's a JS node ecosystem in space, they can do npx, is website vulnerable after that version is released, and just test it, right? They can see if it works. If they also, it's like with developers when they deploy to production, and there's like that quick feedback loop, which is amazing because they can see all the changes that they've done. And this is the same here, right? If you're building something like a CLI or a library or a website, they can easily see that it actually works, and they can see it released. And that's the other thing, right? If you have automation around all of these things, like for example, some of these issues, when we merge it, it automatically gets a release out, right? This is part of the tooling that we build into this project. Again, setting it up to success. We are telling them, this is now live at the new version. This is great. This is helping us to automate all of this, but then giving them fast feedback for all of these things. So we talked through all of this. Kind of like want to end it in a second, but basically what ended up in that side project, again, not saying this was easy to build, not at all. I learned a few things about how Lighthouse works, how it stores its data, and how to build things. So we're always learning. But for me, it's something I didn't anticipate. I didn't build this to be getting 1,500 stars on GitHub. I didn't build this to be a popular one. I actually just built it, put it out there, and then it was interesting to see the amount of people getting interest and value out of this project. So this is, I did not add GitHub action contributions. Someone else added it. Someone else added Docker file containers. Someone else, the whole community added a lot of features that I even didn't think about. So that definitely helps. Last part, how to get noticed. I do not have a formula that is a foolproof reproducing every time, but some things that help. First of all, share it, right? Share it on all the Reddit news, the Hacker News, the Twitter, the LinkedIn, all the social places you are. Tell people you're working on something. Better yet, tell them at the end of the project is, if you want to join me, I'm happy to help you and guide you in all of those things. That's going to be helpful. You can write a blog post and submit it to some of the newsletters, right? Like JavaScript Weekly or Node Weekly or Ruby Weekly or whatever. And, that works. Maybe if it catches on, a lot of readers behind those newsletters. The other thing is, post it on other social places which you think are kind of like maybe taking for granted, like the Facebook's groups where you're asking questions or helping people, the WhatsApp groups for all of those things. And probably the last thing, I'm not going to say this is you should like plan this last one entirely, but GitHub has this kind of like algorithm, the way that it knows how to put things that are trending in some way. So if you were to go into GitHub trending, you would see a lot of repos and stuff like that. So why do you see a lot of developers trending and a lot of repositories trending for different ecosystems? That's because what happens is a lot of people start the project at the same time. So if you wanted to, if that works for you, to schedule a star party, if that's even a word, that could help. So I'm going to finish with this one. I want to say, if you need any help with that, if you have any questions, I think I see a few coming up. But yeah, if you need any questions, if you need any help with any of this, if you need me to start your project to help you to make a contribution to do something, I'm here. Just ping me on Twitter, and I'm happy to collaborate with you on this.
Thank you so much, Liran. One question, because I thought it was a great question, and maybe you have a quick answer for it.
Sure.
And asked, how do you balance being timely as a maintainer while also juggling all your other responsibilities?
Well, balancing is assuming I have a life, and I don't really.
Don't tell that to people. They won't want to be contributors.
No, I'm just kidding. It's choices we make. Like really, these are the choices we make to spend time and prioritize it well. So it's on you to figure out what is best and healthy for you to do it.
Yeah, good answer. Priorities, everyone. Thank you, Liran.